witchcraft. I won't go too deep because I don't know if you know anything about witchcraft. So when we look at gathering on the full moon, so the hunter's moon is all about gathering. So does anybody know what that means? So talk to me. So I will tell you, I know what it means. So what do you think that means when we're gathering on the full moon? So the full moon tells us, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Point one, full moon, hunter's moon, is all about gathering. Okay, so the universe, the Sabbath, the wheel of the witch tells us to gather. That's the first point. So no, you don't know. That's okay. Does anybody else know? I know. I will tell you. I just want to see I want to hear your perspectives. Okay, because this is a cycle. It's good to exchange perspectives. So anybody else, do you know what that gathering means? Okay, so if I tell you a little bit about the backstory, back in the ancestors' time, okay, the sort of villagers, okay, in the village in the ancient times, okay, no, Sam, it's not about release, though you can do that, that's autumn equinox, okay, this is something different, okay, because each moon we're going to focus in on. So, what they used to do, the hunters, so that's why it's called hunter's moon. The hunters, the men, used to go out and hunt, and they used to bring back the meat, and they would bring it back because obviously they were going into winter solstice, the darker side of the month, that end of autumn equinox, that winter cold chilly time, and it would have been harder to hunt, so they had to hunt then. Okay, and there's a reason why the hunter's moon is right before Samhain, but I'm not going to share that with you today. We're going to leave that for Samhain, okay, but they are very connected. This hunter's moon is very connected, okay, to the Samhain moon, okay, so we will deal with that later, but let's talk about this. So they used to go out on the hunter's moon. The ancestors used to use this moon to go out and hunt and bring back food. Okay, because it was coming in colder and the livestock wouldn't, be around. It'd be too cold to hunt. So they would have to collect. They would have to gather. Okay, so it's all about survival, isn't it? It's all about survival. So gathering on the full moon, the hunt. So we get that wild hunt with the fairy, with Odin, and he's, another story going across the sky with the fairies and the ghouls and the ancestors and the spirits, the wild hunt. So this full moon is very much to do with the wild hunt, but that's another story, that's fairy. So it's all about survival. It's all about survival, the hunter's moon. One thing it is to do with. So we need to gather to survive. So it's about gathering. It's all about making sure everything is in place for us to survive. Okay, so what about modern day times? How can we take the teachings of the ancestors to now, of that gathering? They used to hunt, so they used to gather after the colder months. How can we do that now? Gathering for survival as we go into autumn equinox and winter solstice. It's a great teacher, is the witch's will. Can you think of anything we can do that's about survival right now, gathering for the hunter's moon? Okay, can you think of any examples? Pop them below. What do you think, guys? Give you a sec. I've got a few things. Might just give you a few things to think about. Anybody got any suggestions? Yeah, I love that manifesting joy. Stuck up the freezer. Well, that's exactly what they were doing, really. They didn't have freezers. They would have to store their meat in the snow. But remember, it's a lot colder then. The climate's changed now. How would they actually do that now? How would we actually do that? Back then, it was this time of year was really cold, like it should be. They would put it in the frozen ground. The meat would actually go in the ground. So gathering food and storing, yes. So, the hunter's moon. So we would make sure we had enough food in. So if we had to go out in the ice and the snow, okay, we might fall over and hurt ourselves, or we can't get if you've got a car, it might be a bit dangerous on the road. So it's about stocking up on food in the freezer and the tins, so you've got enough out for the winter, so you don't have to go out and get the car, going. You don't have to worry about slipping over, or worried about, if the driver's going to turn up online because the lorry's broke down. Okay, so it's about survival. Brilliant one. So other ones are making sure, okay, that you know, we've got all these things in place. So it could be any appointments that you need to get sorted out, eye tests, dentists, doctors, all those things sorted out on this hunter's moon. So you don't have to go out when it gets very cold after the hunter's moon. Start going towards winter solstice. Start coming towards that end of autumn equinox. It's meant to be getting really cold. Now, we are living in modern times, the climate's a bit messed up, but we'll just ignore that. Okay, so it's about maybe getting those appointments, thank you, sorted out, so we don't have to wait to the winter when it's really cold and we risk, you know, going out into the cold, catching a chill, catching flus, and we're kind of maybe even like having, you know, the flu injection, things like that. So we've got survivor, we're all healthy, we've got our, you know, things that we need to do to go into the doctors, having those flu jabs or whatever that they do. I'm not a doctor, by the way, but it's all about survival. Okay, the hunter's moon is all about survival. What about money? You know, we need money to live, so it might be a time of kind of putting yourself out there. So maybe a time of survival, hunter's moon is a good job for looking for a different job or a different career. You could use the hunter's moon as that time where you say, right, okay, I need to look for a better job that's going to pay more. So we're going to use the hunter's moon because, again, it's all about gathering, it's all about survival, and we need money to survive. Does that make sense? It's you know, think of some things that you could do. So you tell me, guys, can you think of anything else? There's so many things around it. The gathering means survival, okay? So it kind of, I think it can really, you know, as a witch, I know these things, but if you're not a witch and you're not used to these teachings, it kind of you probably understand it now, don't you? You're like, I get it. But when someone's first says gathering, you're probably a bit confused. Am I right? Gathering our community around us. I love that. I love that manifesting. Yes, gathering people around us is survival, not just with our mental health. You know, it's also, you know, togetherness. We survive better when we're in tribes. That's why we get tribes. That's why we have communities. That's why we have circles. And unfortunately, communities are kind of dying at the moment, aren't they, manifesting? When we pull together, we can, you know, bring more food in, more warmth. We can gather together and help each other, and nobody goes without. So warmer clothing, yes, Kat, love that one. When we go out, we think, you know, hunter's moon, it's time of gathering, time of survival. So we go and buy our boots, woolly jumpers, okay, and warmer clothing, yeah, and maybe that electric blanket. So we've got it to survive the colder months, and that's what the hunter's moon is all about. It's more like a pinpoint, the hunter's moon, of saying, you know, how are we going to survive going into those winter months? How can you relate that to the fairies? Okay, the wild hunt, Sam. Now I will do the story of the wild hunts during this week for you. So the wild hunts of Odin, you know, he goes on his hunt across the sky. Okay, I won't tell you now. I'm going to share it on a video because that's the fairy style. The fairy side, quite gruesome, okay, but it's really fun, so brilliant. I will share the story of the wild hunt with Odin, and what happens with the wild hunt and how that's connected to survival, because he does that around this time, the hunter's moon. He's the hunter, they're all the hunters, and yeah, you know, we have to survive. You know, the villagers, they really did believe that. And I won't go into it now, as I'll spoil it when I do the real story of, you know, how they had to survive, how they had to, like, close the doors and hide inside because Odin was flying across the sky with the, you know, the ghouls and the spirits and the fairies and the, you know, creatures. And, you know, if you got caught by him, you know, or them, you'd be gobbled all up, you know, you'd be gone. And everybody did in the ancestors' time on the hunter's moon, everybody around that time stayed in. They were so frightened of Odin. They really did, you know, they wouldn't go out after dark because he would come out and he'd gobble them all up. So it's about surviving, staying in, being hidden, you know, not being not going out there, being safe. And that's another thing, isn't it, about gathering on a full moon? You know, it's all about survival, which is also about being safe. So Odin in the wild hunt teaches us to be safe. The ancestors had to stay safe, didn't they? Indoors. They kept indoors because they were safe. And that again, that's safety, isn't it? You know, making sure we're safe. That's all about gathering what we need to stay safe, really. So, and that can be people. We can use people to around us, like community, like Manifesting said, community keeps us safe. Closing the door keeps us safe, you know, we close the door. Collecting the wood too, collecting wood, gathering wood for that fire, for that hearth. I mean, unfortunately we don't have that now, so now it would be the ancestors would gather wood, wouldn't they, on the hunter's moon to gather to for survival towards the winter months. So now it would be putting an extra, you know, if you've got gas and electric meters, you might put an extra few pound or £1 a week or something or whatever on the meters, so that when it comes to the winter, you're not scrambling around looking for the pennies, or you kind of put a bit of cash away ready for those bigger bills. It's about gathering your stock for those bigger heated bills, don't you think? What do you think of that one? So that's like the modern interpretation of the hunter's moon compared to the ancient times. So we take those teachings of the ancient times around the moon and we just, you know, fit it around the modern times. It's still the same message. So what do you think of that, guys? Will you be gathering on this hunter's moon? Will you be thinking today, what things could you think of today that you can do to gather on this hunter's moon? It's on the 7th of October. What can you gather on this hunter's moon for survival as we go into the darker times of life? And you know, when we look at the full moon, it's not just about the darker months, it's about the darker times. So it's about being, you know, gathering for survival for our life. You know, we have ups and downs in life, we have light and dark, and it's about being prepared so that we have more light than dark, you know, so we are prepared for darker things. We're protecting ourselves, aren't we? We're protecting ourselves. Gathering the ancestors up. Yes. Brilliant. Yes, says Kat. And planning to do a lot. Food and electricity for the heat. Yeah. So this is a time to think. I mean, have we got our warm clothing? We've got our electric blankets. Have we got enough money put back for the bigger bills? So this hunter's moon is just like the ancestors. They'd gather wood. They'd hunt for their food. You know, that was their warmth for their, you know, the skins of the animals would be their furs. That was what they did. And for us, it's in modern times. It's the same things. It's a pinpoint in the witch's wheel, which tells us to gather. It can go farther than that, you know, with Odin and, you know, that survivor. It's about making sure everything's in place. Have we been to the dentist? Have we been to the doctors? Are we healthy? Are we surviving? Are we where we're meant to be right now? Have we ticked the boxes in health? Have we ticked the boxes in you know, money and income, or tick the boxes in, you know, it could be anything to do with survival, really. Making sure that all that paperwork is done so we don't end up getting in a muddle. So what we call going into the darker times. We're trying to keep out of the dark. So the full moon, hunter moon, it's about survival. It's all about, if you think about it in another way, it's about staying out of the dark times and staying in the light. You're trying to prepare now to stay more in the light than the dark in witchcraft. That's what it means on your path. And checking on neighbours. I love that one, Manifesting. You've got some great ideas. Matches, yes. Candles, good one. Spare batteries. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. I love them, Manifesting. You've got some really good ideas. So really, there's a lot of teachings around the full moon. Each full moon is different. And there's tons to it. Absolute tons. I'm just giving you, you know, the surface today. But there's absolutely loads. And that we can do. And that goes right through the seasons and the Sabbaths to the next full moon. And then the next full moon, okay, as we come into that full moon, things are a little bit different and they change. You know, you might transition into the next full moon, but then you have you know, it's like a transition and there's a few little more things you need to do to go forward in your life path and navigating yourself through life, because that's what the full moon does. It teaches us. It's like a navigator, it's like an anchor, it's a guider, the witch's wheel, the Sabbath, to help us move forward with wisdom and really just help us move forward and survive life, if you like, and make sure that we're getting more ups than downs, and we're in that light more than that dark, because nobody wants to be through the dark, which is chaos and stress, and struggling. Okay, it's more about light, blessings and abundance and hope. So this is what the moon teaches us in witchcraft. We get all these teachings and these wisdoms from each moon. So I'm really coming on just giving you the surface, really, which you can take away today and do a lot with it. Something you can journal. Who likes journaling? Witches love journaling. Who loves journaling? It's definitely a witchy thing to do. Who loves journaling? Say yes if you love journaling, or drop an emoji. Cat, yeah, I love journaling. And absolute journaling. Anybody else likes journaling? It's definitely a wonderful thing for manifestation. You know, full moon journaling is amazing. I mean, it can really help you with these teachings of the full moon in witchcraft to move forward. Is anyone else like journaling? Just drop me an emoji. Okay. Anybody else? Or have you tried journaling? Or, you know, if you haven't tried it, why haven't you tried it? Or do you find it too hard? Can you not focus if you've not found the right journal? Okay, let me know, guys, below. Surely there's more people than that. Because let me know. Because I find journaling really helps on the moon, because, you know, when we write things down, it becomes an anchor. And we tend to absorb it in the brain. The neurons tend to, you know, when we're writing, we're more likely to take action. Okay, and that is what it's all about. To soaks in the brain, the neurons take it in. That's science. Yes, says Sam. So I have created free for anybody who wants it. It's the full moon free, no cost, no strings attached. Free full moon journal. It's a little mini journal. It says like about 3 pages long, including the cover. But it gives you some really good journal prompts to work with on this Hunter's Moon. So if you want that, literally go on top of my page. You'll see the pinned post. It will say free full moon journal. Just pop your name below and I'll send you the link. Yep, manifesting, yes, understand that putting paper to pen to manifest actions, absolutely. That is one way to look at it. Absolutely, lots of tips. And it also helps you to understand more about these full moons and the wisdom of nature, and in witchcraft, how we work with the moons to navigate ourselves through life and to start seeing a difference in our life, because that's what it's for, isn't it? To start, you know, we're not witches just to like look fashionable or wear a silly hat and drink, you know, and buy a black cat as a pet. No, it's about wisdom. It's about navigating through life. It's about seeing a difference in your life. You know, that really is a big quote. See a difference in life. You know, I don't teach witchcraft to, you know, for fun. I do it to see effects, to see people be motivated, inspired, start seeing a difference in their life. So by journaling, it really helps you as well remember what the full moons are talking about and connect with nature. Because when we just say it doesn't kind of sink in. We need to journal, we need to, you know, and it's soothing as well. I mean, I like to journal at night in bed when the full moon is out. That's my favourite time, warm and cosy, and it's like talking with the moon and she's teaching me. Yes, absolutely manifesting. Organising our thoughts is energy, absolutely. And that's a big thing, isn't it? It's a big thing. Focus our thoughts is maybe a better way of putting it. Absolutely, yes. Yes, we can focus, and also that then helps us take action. Because when we focus on something, it grows. And that's when we take action. Without action, we don't get no change. Without action, we're still going to be in the same place next year, wondering what do we need to do? What can we do? So this is where I love the Witches' Sabbath, and this is why I love the Witches' Wheel and the full moons, because we don't have to think about what we need to do. It's already there for us since the ancient times. The ancestors did this. Us modern witches do this. All witches, you know, most witches do this. All witches do it, you know, unless they don't want to, that's fine. But it's an action plan. It's something that you can go to the full moon teachings, and it's there. The teachings are there. The wisdom is there. And we work with them as witches. It hasn't changed. I mean, it might have changed, like, you know, with pop witchcraft, but I don't do pop witchcraft. I do the old ways. And it's still like the same now as it was back in the ancestors. It's just that we just turn it into modern times. So instead of gathering wood, we put money on the gas meter or something like that. So it's the same teachings, a little bit different how we do things, but the same message. We don't have to go around asking what do we do, because it's already there. It's written, it's known, it's passed down generation to generation of witches and families. And that's what's so wonderful about witchcraft. The old ways, they don't change, they're not meant to change. Okay. Yes, ancestors guide us. Absolutely. There's one part you could say, you know, the ancestors guide us. All that knowledge, that power. I mean, there's such magical things, isn't there? You know, you have a look at the ley lines. We were talking about that the other day. And all these sacred places. It's amazing. And not just the ancestors, you know, we have the elementals, and we have the nature spirits, the fairy, the unseen, the other spirits, the different dimensions. There's so many ways you can connect with the moon. You don't just have to go through one route, which is nice. It can be whatever suits you and your energy at that time, or where you feel connected. You can use it that way. Like Sam, you were saying you were interested in the wild hunts at Odin. It's very fairy. That's the fairy way. So I will teach you that. I will come on and do that story later this week, because you want to see it from the fairy perspective, don't you? Where this way is more the ancestors and the traditional way. Though they're both the same, they're totally different. And they kind of, you know, some people need to be told things differently so their brain goes ping. And it's what relates to you, what feels good for you. So, yeah, that's why we have different types of it. It means the same, it's just different perceptions. So both for me too, Kat. And I think when you look at both, Sam, and anybody else, you get both the perceptions, and it helps you understand more, because one will give you one perception, one will give you the other perception, and you might understand one more than the other, and you can kind of put them together like a jigsaw puzzle. I always say, if you're learning fairy witchcraft, to learn traditional first, because traditional old ways really are your base, and then we get fairy on top. So yeah, absolutely. And it's so interesting. I love it anyway. Oh, thank you for the gifts, Karen. That's really kind. So do we have any questions about the full moon, about Hunter's Moon, and going forward? Because we've got a week, you know, so we're gathering. And remember, from the Hunter's Moon, okay, right up to, you know, the next moon, it's all about we don't just do it on the full moon, okay? We do it that whole month, 28 days or whatever, you know. We do it that whole cycle of the moon, that whole 28 days. We don't just do it like that day, okay? We do it the whole month. So don't think, oh, I've got to do this on the Hunter's Moon, that's it. No, that's a myth. But we'll talk about the myths later on another live, where I talk about the myths of the full moon, of when to work, when to not. There's loads of myth bunking I can do with you. I will do that on another live, as I'll be here forever. What's the best time to set our intentions? Well, you can set your intentions any time with manifestation. You don't have to. But if you were going for the moons, do you mean the moons manifesting? Do you mean the moons or the witch's wheel? The moons. New moon. We always set our new intentions for new things on the new moon. It's really easy. New moon, new things. Where on the full moon, it's all about, you know, sort of reviewing where we are. So the full moon's more about, okay, that didn't work, we'll release that, and we'll bring, you know, we'll tweak that, turn that, and maybe we'll do it this way instead. So it's about a review on the full moon, where your new moon's about, okay, we're going to start this new. Do you know what? Children always call me when I'm working guaranteed. They won't call me any other time. Does that help? If you're looking at the witch's wheel, okay, that's a completely different thing. I always say, you know, it's different people, different things. So, Samhain, we talk about Samhain, okay, another time, because that's coming up next. Okay, we have that Samhain, okay, coming up, Halloween, some people might know it as. Some people there, and I'll explain that. I'm not going to explain that now, I'm live. But some people start on Imbolc, because because that's all about setting the seed, isn't it? That's spring, the lambs, the new, the rebirth on the witch's wheel. But you know, I would not ever say don't ever just start. I would start wherever you are. Yeah, definitely, because there's always something that can help us. Samhain's, you know, Halloween's coming up very soon, so that'll be an exciting one. I've got lots to talk to you about for that. Definitely a good one to set intentions on there. So I'll explain that why in the Samhain lives. I just don't want to go off focus because I do tend to do that. Okay, can't wait, says Kat, can't wait. You've actually ordered, Kat, the Samhain journal off me. So Kat has joined. You've ordered because you're part of my Witches Journal mail club, aren't you? The Witches Journal Mail Club. So the Witches Journal Mail Club, link in bio, is where you get every month, you get a full journal, like a printed journal with journal prompts, information around the moon, things to do, crafts, tarot spreads, everything created by me, designed by me, and sent out in the mail to you. So Kat's part of that. So you'll be getting, hi Amber, it's good to see you, that Shellhound journal. So everything will be in there, literally everything you need. Everything. You've also ordered the Hunter's Moon one, haven't you, Kat? So you've got everything you need in that Hunter's Moon. So anybody, you know, you don't, you know, literally got all you need in there. So yeah, everything you need is in there. I'm actually printing them out tomorrow. I've already created them with my artwork and, you know, information typed up. So I'm just going to print them all out and send them out tomorrow, those journals, for the mail club. So they will be on their way probably tomorrow or the next day, Kat, and they'll be sent first class trapped, so you get them like next day. So yeah, thank you for signing up for my, you know, journaling mail club. It's going to be so fun. Okay, so do we have any more questions about the Hunter's Moon? We're talking about gathering at the moment, so which means survival. There's other ways of looking at it. This is just one way. I mean, there's loads and loads. I could be here like all week talking about the home at full moon, but I can't do that. I can't do that, guys, because I haven't got the time to do that. I do that on my Patreon in my coven. I do have a coven, and that's where I teach all this stuff in full. Link in bio, join my coven Patreon if you want to learn more about the moons, because this isn't the place for me to teach. Okay, but you can, you know, join that if you like. I'm buzzing, says Kat. That's good. My eye's drawn to the pink stripy thing. But oh, I love it. That's my candy dolls. Yeah, manifest. Do you mean the dolly up here? Yeah, I actually got them off some of Etsy. She's got teeth. If you don't feed her sweeties, she'll bite you, basically. And I love this. I got it off a lady on Etsy. She used to hand make dolls. They're called candy dolls. And basically, it said if you don't feed them sweeties, they will bite you. And I just think they got a little mask. She used to make everything by hand, even the clothes. Oh, I got loads of them. And she doesn't do it anymore. She didn't sell enough. And, you know, for her time and the hours, people weren't paying her. And it was so sad. She even moulded the faces and the mask herself. Everything was handmade. Absolutely. Such a sad thing, because she's such a talent. She actually got them in Italy. She used to slip them over. I love them so much. I can't remember what she was called. She had oh God, very expensive. They were like, you know, £200. But a lot of sewing, a lot of designing. She had like a Italian name that I could never pronounce, and because I couldn't pronounce it, what?
Fabio or something.
Something O on the end. It's always O. I can't remember. It's brilliant. Shame, really, isn't it? These creative people, and you know, people don't want to pay the prices, do they? And it's really sad, because yeah, I do. I love small businesses. I'm all for small business. You'll see me, you know, I'm always like sharing small businesses or putting them on my story, or you know, unboxing for them, because you know I think we need to, that's what was, hey, that again, full moon, Hunter's Moon, gathering communities, small businesses. There you go. This one. Literally just talked about it there, didn't we, guys? You know, by supporting small businesses, you are helping them to survive. So again, full moon, Hunter's moon, that's what it's all about. That's what we're doing. So maybe that's something you could, that's actually really good. That just popped up. So maybe on the full moon, you could do that. You could buy off a small business. Any. Just to help them survive, you know. If people didn't buy from them, they wouldn't be here. I'm a small business. If people didn't have my services, I would be here. So just, you know, say, you know, this full moon, you know, I'm going to have some gratitude on this hunted moon, which is all about survival, and help a small business and just buy one small thing, you know, and, you know, this gratitude there, this survival, yes, manifesting, that's community again. And yeah, it's a lovely, beautiful thing to do. It's, you know, I'm pretty sure that the universe will see that and give you some good karma. So, and not only that, it's nice to do nice things, isn't it? Makes us feel good and them feel good. And that's when we have communities, because when we connect with small businesses, with small creators on TikTok, we become part of their community. And then there's that trust comes in. And that's what we have on the full moon. Hunter's moon's all about, that gathering again. Like Manifesting says, community, that gathering again. It's like taking those small steps and, you know, building that trust. And yeah, fantastic. So thank you, Amber, for the gift. I really loved that. Totally. Yeah, so there's something you can do if you want to, you know, do that. There's loads you can do on the full moon, Hunter's moon. Absolutely loads. I mean, today I'm just literally touching the surface. If you want to learn more about the full moons and how to work with them, you know, do we have any beginners on the full moon? Okay. Irish? I didn't know what you mean. Irish? Does anybody want to, yeah, Jew, sort of, yes. Is anybody struggling with the full moons? Do you kind of feel like, oh, I don't know what to do on the full moons, I'm in a pickle?